Cutting dowels should be simple, but if you've ever tried to batch cut them by hand, you know it's a pain. Marking each one, trying to hold them steady, and hoping every cut is straight. It's slow, it's frustrating, and even small errors add up. If your cuts aren't precise, those mistakes compound across the next dowel you cut. I even have a jig for my bandsaw that makes cutting dowels easier, but I'm still freehanding every cut, and that means I'm dealing with the same problem: inconsistencies. There are jigs like this guy that lets you slide a dowel in, make a cut, and remove the dowel, but it's limited to certain sizes. I'm going to show you a better way, a simple bench appliance that makes cutting dowels fast, repeatable, and dead-on accurate without the hassle. Let's get started. The materials you'll need to make this project are very simple. I've got I think this is a 2x8, but you can make this a little bit more narrow. You can go with a 2x4 if you really wanted to. I've got a ruler here that I'm going to cut and attach to the jig itself, as well as a 3" by 3" piece of hardboard. That's all there is to this. It's going to be very simple, but I think that you're going to find that this is going to make a very effective dowel cutter. My first of 2 cuts will be started here, 3 inches from the side. We're going to take this either to the bandsaw or to the table saw. I'm going to be using the table saw. Bandsaw can sometimes give us blade drift, depending on the sharpness of the blade. We don't want that. I've got the blade set at 45 degrees, and I'm just going to find that mark, which looks like right about there. And I'm going to add a clamp so that nothing moves as I push this through. With my blade back to a 90, I'm going to come in here and measure over 6 inches. Now that I have everything cut, I'm just going to add some glue. I'm going to use some super glue as a clamp. We want to make sure that the glue does not touch the super glue, as it will obviously not work, but I'll go ahead and attach this now. This Loctite super glue, the professional stuff, does not require any activator to work. You just have to press and hold for 20 seconds. I will come back in about 20 minutes to finish this off. With the glue set, I'll add my hardboard to the side, and I'm just going to temporarily attach it with an F-clamp. At this point, you add your ruler, and you're going to make marks wherever you want to later make cuts. And really what's nice about this is that you can add the cuts later on when you need them. You don't need to make a bunch of cuts across here right now. Once you've done this side, you'll come to the other side and do the same thing. With all my cuts made, I'll take it over to the vise now. I could take this to the bandsaw, but I want zero play when I'm using my handsaw. This flush cut saw has no set teeth, allowing for fine, tight cuts to translate to precise dowel lengths. Right now I'm going to go over each of my marks and add a shallow kerf. This will help me position the blade accurately across the V before I make the full cuts. If you're good with a handsaw and you can make a straight cut, all you need to do now is come in here, line up both slots, and make your cut. And obviously you're going to cut all the way down past the bottom point here. But for the rest of us, you can use a 2x4 or anything like this, anything similar that's going to have a flat side to it, to line things up to make that cut. I'm going to add this to my hardboard, and then I want to trace the inside of it. I'll use a chalk pencil so that it shows up. Obviously, if you've got hardboard that's a little bit lighter, a regular pencil will work. You'll notice that one side is offset a little bit, and that's just, I wanted to make sure that I could add my ruler and butt it up against the side. The offset side of mine is going to be out like this. This is going to be the front of the jig. I want to make sure that I can hold it like this, and then use my saw with my right hand. So this is the side that I want it to be offset on. I'll mark my offset, and now I need to place marks on here so that I can drill it out and attach it to my jig. I did say that I was going to attach this, but I'm going to leave it off. I usually have one of these nearby anyway. Just have to line it up to the edge and then find where the cut is, and that should be fine. Before we use the jig, let me quickly explain this very unique saw that I have in my hand that is actually just as important as the jig. The blade on this has absolutely no setting on it. If you look at a normal saw, you'll see that the blade has teeth that extend outward on either side. This creates an open kerf that keeps the blade from sticking as it cuts. This blade can get stuck when I use it. It doesn't matter how good you are, this happens. As the name suggests, flush cut saws are meant to be used right against the surface. They're advertised as not damaging your stock when you cut something like a dowel. But if we look under the microscope at this regular one that I have here, you can still see it has set teeth and it can still damage the surface. Unlike this saw, this one has, again, absolutely no setting on it. The reason that I'm explaining this to you and going into details because this saw will not widen the kerf with the teeth over time. I like using this because it keeps my cut straight and it will help make this jig last longer. This is a very rare saw and it took me some time to find it on Amazon. The link will be in the description if you're interested in it, but keep in mind, it's great for precision, but the trade-off is that it is more difficult to use. You have to be mindful and always pull to cut and not force it forward. I don't need to explain how this works, but I'll show you how easy it is. I've got my hardboard on this side so that I can hold my stock, use my right hand to cut the stock. My dowel slides in. I've got these set at 1/2 inch increments. Let's say I want to cut something at 1.5 inches. Pull this one out. And there we go. I've got 4 dowels that are cut at 1.5 inches. It's a very simple jig, but it's very effective. It's very easy and it's quick to build. You don't need to spend an entire afternoon to build this. You could build it in 20 minutes. As long as the dowel is lower than the 2 points, then this jig works really well. Mine will do about 1 inch. If you need to cut really large dowels, you just need to increase the size of each one of your sections and then do that 45-degree cut. Glue them together and you're good to go. Thank you so much for watching. It means so much that you're here. Leave a comment down below and subscribe. I'd appreciate it if you could thank my patrons for making all these projects possible. It means so much, friends. And remember to keep making things.